I suppose Brian Kelly thought the BCS National Championship game last year was just another game. Maybe that was the problem. Mark Rogers TV and ProFootballCentral.com on Michigan-Notre Dame. Let it sink in, college football fans. We grew up watching college football. We know Michigan-Notre Dame is special. Two storied programs, the two winningest programs in college football history. The tradition, the prestige, nothing matches it in regards to non-conference rivalries. Okay, maybe USC-Notre Dame, but those are the two that outrank everything else. Michigan-Notre Dame and USC-Notre Dame. In recent years, maybe Clemson-South Carolina, because both of those programs have emerged, but that's a regional rivalry. Michigan-Notre Dame. Get a clue, Brian Kelly. This is special. Your team better show up and play at Michigan Stadium. Let's break down the matchup on the field. The difference in this game versus what we saw in 2012 at Notre Dame is Devin Gardner at quarterback for Michigan. Okay, Denard Robinson was spectacular, prolific. You've heard me say it before, but he did not belong in this offense, especially once Al Borges took it over. Brady Hoke finally has his quarterback in place in Devin Gardner, a guy that can deliver the football on time down the field and make the right reads and the right decision. Robinson was a running quarterback, and he was fun to watch, but he was crippling to this offense against the better defenses like Alabama, like Notre Dame. He threw 4 picks in this game as Michigan played very well defensively, but lost 13-6 as the Notre Dame front seven dominated the game, although Michigan outgained the Irish and had their chances as Robinson threw a couple picks in the red zone. But again, it was Notre Dame winning and getting to the national championship game based on that front seven. And so that's the hope of a Notre Dame win as they come in as a 4-point underdog. It's guys like Stephon Tuitt, 13 tackles for loss, 12 sacks last season, one of the best defensive players in the country, along with a guy that I really like, a guy that really came on early last season, Prince Shembo at linebacker. You've got Nix III. No, he plays nose tackle, so you don't see him with just enormous numbers, but he makes it all go for this Notre Dame defense, and maybe the reason why Manti Te'o almost won the Heisman Trophy and gained all that hardware at Notre Dame. Nix III, he will provide a pass rushing push for Notre Dame and also plug up the run, which this is the one place where Michigan could have some issues here. When we look at the offensive line for Michigan, of course, Taylor Lewan at left tackle gets all the attention. He could be playing in the NFL Week 1 right now, but he decided to come back to Michigan, and it's a good thing. He's joined on the right flank by Michael Schofield, an excellent right tackle. But in the middle, there could be some issues at guard and at center for Michigan with Jack Miller at center. Then you've got Ben Braden and Kyle Kalis playing the guard positions for Michigan. This is where Notre Dame could cause havoc for Devin Gardner and company for Michigan. But if Gardner gets time to throw, he's got weapons on the outside with Jeremy Gallon, who caught 49 passes last year, 829, and then once Gardner stepped in for the final 5 games of 2012, that's when Gallon really could receive the football. 49 catches for the season, 31 once Gardner took over for those final 5 games. Gallon caught 4 for 47 last week against Central Michigan. Drew Dileo, same thing, 20 receptions for the season, but he caught more with Gardner at quarterback, and really he shined against South Carolina, one of the best defenses in the country, in the Outback Bowl, and caught what could have been the game-winning touchdown pass in that game. Devin Funchess, this guy could be a terror on defenses for Michigan. Caught 2 last week against Central Michigan, but for 23.5 yards per catch. We saw much of that last season. Funchess with just 15 receptions, but 5 for touchdowns. So the Michigan offense is ready to explode. They've got the playmakers in place with Fitz Toissant back at running back after being injured near the end of 2012 against Iowa. He ran 14 times in Week 1 against Central Michigan for 57 yards. But the guy that could really be fun to watch and really explosive, the guy that Michigan fans really want to see, is Derrick Green. The 5th-rated running back out of high school, ran it 11 times for 59 yards. In the opener, We'll see how many carries he gets, but I would expect it to be the same ratio, basically Toissant with a few more carries than Green. We saw Devion Smith, another highly rated running back, but expect him not to see the football against Notre Dame. Okay, that's the Michigan offense, which we expect to explode if they can block Notre Dame. And of course, that's what offensive football is all about. Need the big guys to make the blocks up front and give Gardner some time to deliver the football downfield. Okay, for the Notre Dame offense, no Sierra Wood, no Thea Riddick. They move on, graduate, and move on to the NFL. Of course, Everett Golson was the starting quarterback and provided that dual threat for Notre Dame in the passing and running game last season and really took off in his development. But of course, he's not on the football team for this year. Tommy Reese is, and he's got a ton of experience. 14-4 as a starter. Tommy Reese completed 16 of 23 last week against Temple with 3 touchdown passes. He has delivered in the clutch at times for Notre Dame in delivering game-winning drives. Even last season, even though Golson became the starter, Reese came off the bench a number of times and saved the Irish against BYU, against Stanford, against Purdue in winning those football games. And we know what he did as Michigan and Notre Dame played that classic 2 years ago at Michigan Stadium that Tommy Reese delivered time and time again. And so he's a savvy guy. He can read defenses. He can deliver the ball. But he's prone to the interception, and he's not mobile. So if Michigan can get there, and Greg Mattison, I'm sure, has game planned it, Michigan could have success against this offense because they're very inexperienced at the running back position. George Atkinson's played quite a bit. He had 8 carries against Temple last week. He rushed for 365 and 5 touchdowns last year. Cam McDaniels, the 50th rated running back going back to 2011 out of high school, has not really emerged in this Notre Dame offense. He ran it 12 times for 65 yards, so he's got the opportunity this year with Riddick and Wood gone. And then you've got Amir Carlisle, a guy that Notre Dame supporters have been waiting to see emerge as well. 7 carries for 68 yards against Temple. TJ Jones, an exciting receiver for Notre Dame, their best guy in the passing game, caught 50 and 4 touchdowns last season, had a huge game against the Owls in week 1 at home, 6 catches for $138, and also DaVarius Daniels, 3 catches, 2 touchdowns, 69 yards against Temple. He caught 31 last season, mostly from Everett Golson. Notre Dame has the chance because the front 7 could be dominant and disrupt the Michigan offense with some inexperience and some lack of talent at the guard positions and at center. Even though Michigan recruited 3 of the top 7 guards out of high school, those kids not ready to play and will not play in this game. Michigan wins it over Notre Dame in a very good game at Michigan Stadium. We like the Wolverines 24-22. Now, we need to hear from you. This is what it's all about here. Follow us on Twitter at MarkRogersTV and talk to us here on YouTube as well. Right here about Michigan, Notre Dame, and all of college football. Love to hear from you now on MarkRogersTV and ProFootballCentral.com.